Hi everybody, Gloria Jean from Iwan Simonis Ride the 9 Tour. And tonight we are joined, I'm so honored by the way, uh, none other than David Blackjack Sapolis. You might know him uh, from Pool, you may know him from his Random Thoughts. And he graced us tonight with an interview. Um, and he said he's basically an open book, but I'm going to respect a lot of things here. Everybody, if you could give this a share, please help us out. Send stars. It's also a great way to help us to upgrade our equipment because that's a constant, by the way. Um, so I'm going to wait for a person or two to come in before I actually get to the meat and potatoes of things. But I want to say thank you first and foremost, David, for accepting
Thank you.
the interview. It's an absolute pleasure. Um, Uh, all right. So let's go with how did you fall in love with the game? First
Oh, it
question.
was it's a kind of a strange story. My aunt had a pool table down in her basement, and I was about 7 years old, and there were no cues down there, but the balls were on the table, so I would just take the balls with my hands, and I would just try to knock the balls in that way. And about a year after that, um, that I started actually playing with the cue. And I had good hand-eye coordination. And then my uncle went ahead and showed me I was shooting the balls too hard, and he kind of showed me how to line up a shot and how to get it into the pocket nice and smooth. And I've been playing ever since.
And how old were you
I
again?
was about 9 years old,
8 and 9 years
and
old.
I started playing at the boys club in Kearney, New Jersey. And one of our tables, I mean, the cloth was all torn off. There was a corner pocket missing on the other end of the table, but we didn't know any better. And I played on that table for hours. I had to go there, do my homework, uh, and then I could play on the table. And that's where I started. That's where I got my first cue, was through playing in little tournaments there. And they kind of chipped in and got me this two-piece little Palmer cue. And that was my very first cue.
There we
So
go. All right. Well, that's nice, and it's nice to know that they continued at the Boys and Girls Club, because that's really where I want to start doing some things to help the
what's
juniors
funny
out.
is the person that was in charge of the boys club in the afternoons. I would also work in the kitchen. His name was Steve Dill, and he became a fireman. He was a fire chief in Kearney, New Jersey, right up until a couple of years ago. But yeah, I would work in the kitchen and play pool and do all that stuff at the boys club. My mom was divorced, and after school, instead of being home by myself, I would go to the boys club. And I don't think there's a better place if people are looking for something to support. There's no better place than to take care of the boys and girls clubs. Uh,
Yeah,
you never know who's going to come through those doors and what they're going to
if this
become.
is true, and that's very, very true. If only we had billiards as part of recreation, like we do dodgeball instead of slamming people in the head with dodgeballs. Not that I can say anything because I used to get picked a lot for it. But if only we had billiards in schools. I mean, there's every form of math in there. People argue with me that there's not algebra, but there is algebra, geometry, you name it, it's in there. I mean, what better way to learn than kind of like, a twofer, you know? Um, angles and things of that nature. So I think that that would actually be an asset. It's also, a game that makes you think. It's always
Yeah,
making you
yeah.
think. So why not, have that instead? And I want to read off here. Uh, Sandra Costin. I always have difficulty with her name, so I apologize. I always chop it up. She said, "Hello, David. Sorry, Jim and I can't tune in. We're in a tournament. Good luck to you and Jim, Sandra." Ron Richardson. Hi, Gloria and David. Kyle Boutte. Hello, all. Rick Owens. No audio. Can anybody hear us? I hope. I'll wait till somebody just gives me a. I mean, I would think that one of the other people would say that there's no audio. So hello to everybody out there. Um, all right. So you played for how many years before you became pro?
Well, I played in junior
Thank you, Brandon.
tournaments through the boys club, through the police athletic league, around New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, that little tri-state little area there.
Uh-huh.
Um, and when I was 12 years old, 1978, my family moved from New Jersey down to South Florida, and I moved to Hollywood, Florida. And at the time, I was a straight pool player. Just kind of backtrack. I was working with Cicero, where Cicero Murphy kind of took me under his wing, caught me playing hooky, and took me back to my school, and told me, he says, you know, I'll show you, what it is I do to play pool, and how he played the game. But I had to, get better grades, and I had to show that I wasn't going to play hooky anymore. And that was a hard one for me. You're going to learn
Which
that.
one? Getting better grades or not playing hooky?
Yeah, you were talking about
The
putting pool in
latter.
schools. Pool
Yeah.
was my excuse not to go to school, So
Your reason, not your excuse.
it was my excuse. It really was. I had no reasons. Uh, but I went down to Florida, and everything down there was 9 ball, uh, which I didn't understand. I was a straight pool player, and that's all I played was straight pool and 8 ball. And I didn't know how to make my cue ball go more than 2 rails. You try doing that 9 ball, you're not going to be very good. And, but I started, watching some of the better players down there, mainly David Howard. David Howard was just incredible. He's got 2 U.S. Opens. Why that guy's not in the Hall of Fame is beyond me. But he, I copied a lot of what he did and incorporated into my 9 ball game. Between him and Jimmy Reed, I became pretty good. And when I was 16 years old, I went to a pro event to watch, and they didn't fill the brackets. So there was 2 kind of players there that were in that tournament. Were the There were the good players, there were the great players. Then there was this third bunch where I was when I just threw my money into playing a tournament. I had no business being in the tournament. But I went in, and I didn't do as bad as I thought I would do. I didn't win any matches. But I was 16 years old, and that was my very first pro event. My very first match was against Terry Bell, one of the founders of the APA. And
Oh,
he drilled me.
wow.
He drilled me, and I felt like I was a pro player, but I wasn't. So
It is. It's about how you feel. I would rather no. I would rather feel as though I played well, even if I lost to my opponent, than not play well and win. So it really is all about the feeling. I remember in my day getting drilled in races to 50 when I was much, much younger, and I walked away with one game, and I felt like I was on top of the world. So
yeah, I won 3 games, and
there you go.
um, I think I might have pocketed 4 balls to win those 3 games. So, but I was on top of the world, and you know, I wasn't a pro player by any stretch of the imagination at that point. I was pretty good for my age, but there was a big gap between the way I played the game and the consistency that the pro players had, and it was elusive. for a very long time to try to get some of that consistency.
You know, uh 14-1 was is probably, and I'm not going to get into it too much, but 14-1 was probably one of my favorite games, I'd have to say. I kind of I didn't play 9 ball for many, many, many years. It was 14-1 and 8 ball.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not. I do like one pocket, but I'm not. I think I'd probably get too frustrated. Um, um. So who is your favorite player? We won't even get into disciplines.
My favorite player of all
Well,
time.
how about just you could give me three. That way.
Okay, I'll give you my Mount
Yeah.
Rushmore here.
Okay. Yes.
Cicero Murphy. Cicero Murphy was more than just a friend. He was a mentor. He was somebody who shared things with me to make me not only a better player but a better person. So yeah, Cicero Murphy goes up on my Mount Rushmore. Uh, Second would be Ray Martin. Uh, Ray Martin is one of those players that's he's no nonsense. He gets on that table. I would love to just watch his eyes as he went around reading a rack and looking for that pattern to get on the break ball.
Oh,
Ray Martin is just incredible. Uh, the other guy'd be Buddy Hall. Um, Nobody ever
there
hit
you
the
go.
ball as sweet and as true as Buddy Hall. I mean, Buddy Hall is just amazing. Um, the other guy I throw on there is Louis Roberts. Um, Louis Louis took me on the road when I was 17 years old, and he taught me a lot. Yeah, he taught me a lot of the things that made me a successful pool player. He showed me a lot of things that, that I shouldn't have done too. but that's part of learning too, is learning what not to do and being in situations. And the fifth guy that goes up on that Mount Rushmore, and I'm pretty sure he's on everybody's Mount Rushmore, and that's Efren Reyes.
Yep, I
uh,
knew that was on the way.
oh yeah, oh yeah, I got an Efren story, but I'll wait till a little later to tell you my Efren
You
story.
sure? Because I don't mind. I think we'd all like to hear it.
Played Efren one time, and it
Okay.
was the only time my dad ever came to see me play in a tournament. And who am I playing? I'm playing Efren Reyes, and I won 6 games in a race to 11. I won 6 games. Okay, but Efren like ran a 6 pack to win the match. But my one thing, other than the 6 games that I got on Efren, was I got ball in hand. And it's a
There you
running
go.
joke. Anybody that knows me will tell you I want it on my epitaph, on my tombstone. I once got ball in hand from Efren Reyes with him scratching his head like a monkey, handing me the cue ball. Okay.
Yes.
Uh, but yeah, that's the only time my dad ever got to see me play professional pool. And he was dumbfounded at why I was so happy. That guy he just beat you like really bad. And I'm like so happy. So
I could only imagine. I could only imagine the feeling one would get from even getting six games from Efren, and then the
oh
ball in
yeah,
hand is just like the cherry on
because
top.
when you're a super, I called myself a super underdog when I was a pro player. I was a super underdog. Okay, so for me to get 1 or 2 games uh, from Efren, that's an accomplishment because um, there's guys out there that'll just make you sit in a chair. You'll never get out of the chair, and Efren's one of them. There's there's uh, there's a lot to be said for sitting in that chair, and you learn when you're the super underdog that you take those opportunities, okay, when they're there, and you grab them and run with them like a football. Yeah, it's you know, uh, and that's where I was. I mean, I wasn't way up here. I was kind of like way down there. So
Hold on. We ended up, someone was scrolling and a commercial came on and then he knocked over one. I apologize to everybody. It actually is
Okay.
really funny. If we take everything too seriously in life, it's just not fun anymore. Um,
True.
yep, because we never know what's gonna change. So, he'll hear it later. Um, what I didn't mean that. He's laughing over there right now. Um, uh, if only you could have seen the domino effect. It was hysterical. Um, so Ephraim Reyes. I will make sure. I will make sure that should we'll see who goes first, but uh, if I have to spray paint it on your tombstone, I will make sure that it's there. Okay. I give you my word. I will make sure it was
It's a
there.
it's a deal. It's a deal.
Okay. Um. Okay. So there are so many questions I have. How did the nickname come about?
Ah,
And I have more questions after this about
okay.
random thoughts. All right.
Here's here's the nickname Blackjack comes from this big black mustache. Okay.
Okay.
Um, Before that, I was called Sunshine. When I went on the road with Louis Roberts, that's what he named. He called me Sunshine because I was from Florida, and I hated that. Okay, I hated Sunshine with a purple passion. Um, so, the blackjack kind of stuck because of this mustache. I'd be able to twirl it, and I kind of look like a old western gunfighter. But that's where that came from. But it's starting to turn white now, so I'm gonna have to call myself White Jack or
Right.
something. I got nothing left up
No,
here.
you can never change it. You can never change it. Once you get it, you can never change it. So so we see on your page, on
Mhm.
your personal page, we see tons of random thoughts.
Yeah,
How did that come about? Like one night you just like, I just had a random thought and here we go.
it's this is the story, and
Okay.
like I said,
Share,
I
share,
wasn't
share.
a
Tune in. This is the good part right here. Really, a really good part.
I wasn't a very good professional player. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so and I was a very angry and frustrated young man. Go back to like 1986, and I was in a tournament, and I had one of these Mucci. Louis Roberts was had these line of cues that he was uh, selling with his name on it, and he let me borrow one, and I couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with that cue. And I lost my first match, and then I'm in the losers bracket, and I missed 3 shots in a row. I picked that thing up, and I picked it up over my head, and I smashed that cue uh, right over the corner pocket. No offense to anybody or Michi cues, it wasn't them. Trust me, it was me. Okay,
Right, right.
but pieces of that cue went all over the place. All right, and there's like 6 or 7 matches that got disrupted by my outburst. And one of the things that was the first time I became famous in the game of pool. It was for the wrong reasons.
Oh,
And the fact that people call me on the phone asking advice on the mental game is is ludicrous when I look back to because that's where I come from. I'm that guy who smashed the cue. I was a cue smasher, and I was barred from that event. Nobody wanted me in their event, because I was a hothead, and take a little bit of time off. And in that time off, I got clean and sober. That's all I'll say.
there
I
you
got
go. That's
clean
all
and
that
sober.
needs to be said. That's all that needs to be
I
said.
got my life together. Let's just say that. And one of the things that I started doing, one of the things I learned was that I was a powder keg. All right. And the more stuff, every missed shot, every loss, every dumb mistake, I kept it up here, and
Hmm.
and I let it stay there. Okay. Um, Somewhere along the line, I met this uh, Catholic priest at an AA meeting, and he told me, he says, you need to start writing. You need to do a mental backwash and get that stuff out of your head and onto the paper.
There you go.
So every day, at the end of the day, I do a self inventory and I look at what went right, what went wrong, and what I could do better in the future. And that stuff started to add up. In this office that I'm sitting in, I have about 80, 85 of these spiral notebooks that are just filled. I'm going on, God willing, in December, I'll have 36 years clean and sober. That's what generated my random thoughts. Some of them I'm frustrated. Some of them I'm hopeful. Some of them I'm inquisitive. Some of them I really don't know what's going on. Some of them have stories behind it. And I think it's interesting now that I post them, how people interpret it. They interpret them a little bit differently than why I wrote them. But it was a cleansing at first. And some of them are personal. Some of them are funny. Some of them are kind of tell the history of my playing.
Yeah, I mean, I would personally, I mean, you said you have that many notebooks, but I was going to say, why don't you write a book? But we'd have to buy a series. It's like a Harry Potter movie. I was thinking, a book, probably something like a DVD at this point. You could like have a screen, then pop up on the screen for X amount of seconds so people can read them. I don't know really, but my thought is that you just give these away, and they're so like they really do make you think
I'm paying
about.
back for that cue. That's what I'm doing.
Oh wow,
Okay,
is that what
I'm
you're
paying
doing?
back for for every for every time. I've none of us are perfect. You know,
Nope.
um, just because I've been clean and sober for 36 years doesn't mean that I'm any better than anybody else or that I walk on water. Trust me, I don't. Um, and I still have stuff that I need to learn. There's some days I wake up and I'm like, wow, feel like I'm on day one, and I like that. Kind of keeps me humble, keeps me grounded, and I really, really have a love and a passion for helping other people. So when I started sharing these, I started writing articles. I think in like 1991. Um, I started writing articles about pool and mostly about the break, about game strategy and stuff like that. Um, but who was I? Who was going to listen to me? That's why when I would want to send them out and have them published, I was kind of amazed at the feedback that I got. Um, so I mean, as far as writing a book, I mean, I tried putting the articles in book form. I think I sold 100 copies. I wrote a second book, and that one I went through a publisher, and I went into debt just trying to get that one
Wow.
published. So the third book was Nine Ball book, which you could still get on lulu.com. Just
I
look
was
up
going to
lessons
ask you
in
about
nine
that.
ball, and it's
Yeah.
there. And I wrote that at probably 2000, 2001. And that needs to be revised. I've revised it twice because the game's always evolving. You know,
Right.
I got to update it and put a purple 5 ball on the cover. I guess I don't know, but
That's my favorite set. That's my favorite set, and it gets
yeah,
so much
it's
slack. People hate it so
yeah.
much, but yet it's one of the most sought after sets of balls. So I don't get it. And actually, I'm wearing a purplish shirt tonight. So uh, there you go. It says Naples on it, in case anyone's wondering what the remainder of it is.
Naples.
Um, Naples. I might be Italian.
I'm
A little
completely
bit.
Italian. you and I've already talked about that.
Yeah, my last name. Not many people know my last name. That's probably like one of the trick questions. But yeah, we have a city named after us in Italy. Um, so, but yeah, I might be Italian, maybe.
Yeah, I'm Italian and Lithuanian. So
I
a
remember
strange
that.
combination. Everybody thinks look at my name and they think it's Greek. It's
It,
Lithuanian.
I
And
thought it was Greek myself.
yeah, a lot of people think that, but no, it's Lithuanian. My dad is from Duryea, Pennsylvania, which isn't too far from Pittston, where I believe Lou Butera was from, and he was also, I believe, they're also Lithuanian. So there's a large Lithuanian community in Pennsylvania. So
I uh I I don't think I've how many times I've been to I don't even think I've ever been to probably been there a couple times. I've never been to a Super Billiard Expo, by the way. Just throwing that out there.
mm,
Um yeah, I would love to go. Um so so now we know where Blackjack comes from. Now we know where the random thoughts come from. Um I'm so like I want to get like this stuff monetized so badly. Keith McCready's another one that I like. I think that his stories would just, they're just gold. Um, do you have any stories that really stand out aside from the queue? Any stories that really stand out that you learned a really, I'm just going off the cuff here, but a lesson from, and then I'm gonna go to the people in the audience here, a lesson from that you think would be valuable since you want to share, um, be valuable for someone else, something that made you really mentally strong, like you said, that's what you're known for, um, the hothead that broke the stick with the cue. I don't use the word stick really, but the cue, who had the really strong mental game. So any advice that you could give to people, here that may not be in the random thought, or something that really stands out to you that you think is really important?
number one, when you show up for a match, okay, or a tournament, league night, if you're going to play somebody for money, always remember, okay, that pool is a two, it's one against one. It's only two people. That means there's one's going to be a winner, one's going to be a loser. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Those are labels. Those are labels. The
Okay.
number one thing that I tell pool players when they call me, okay, is number one, numbers, your Fargo rating, your APA rating or level, whatever you're on. Those those are labels. Okay, rip those labels off and be yourself. Just be yourself.
You mean the game, be yourself, how you shoot, be yourself, or just be genuinely raw,
Take
open,
all
who
that
you are?
all that stuff, all those labels, okay, your Fargo rating and all that. One day you're going to live up to your Fargo rating. Other days you're not. Okay, it's that's just the fact of being a pool player. And I say, go in there, do your best, and be yourself. Play your game. Don't worry about the numbers. Don't worry about the rating. Okay, play from here.
The heart.
Play from
Yes.
here. Play from the
Yes.
heart. You know, everybody says, well, I had a strong mental game. I said, well, got to play from here. That's what it is. There's too many people. There's too many people out there that want to throw a label on anybody. Somebody loses a match, deep into a major tournament, and you go on social media, read all kinds of judgments and people criticizing, and there was only one person that was in that situation and in the moment, and I guarantee you they did the absolute best that they possibly could. I know, I've been there. I'm a player. Um, as a pool player, you're going to miss shots. It's part of life. Get used to it. You're going to lose matches. get used to it. I've I've lost matches. I've seen Efren lose matches. Seen Shane Van Boening lose matches. Okay, look in there a little deeper. You'll see that Federer has lost a couple of matches, just a couple, right? But it's those labels. Every time, every decade seems to have a different label, that comes out. Right now, it's the Fargo rating, and it comes down to one thing. Why set the bar anywhere? You set that bar. Say I'm a 500, okay, and you set the bar there. You're doing yourself a disservice. You're doing yourself a disservice because you could probably play like a 6 or a 700, okay, on a good day. Guaranteed. I've done it. I played out of my head and played on a level that I'm not going to see every day, but I want to enjoy it while I can. But if I'm always sticking these labels on, lost in the final, alternate, whatever label you want to throw, none of them are really good. None of them do you a service. They really don't. You've got to play from right here. If you take care of this here, that'll be okay.
Yeah.
It'll be okay.
That's really weird because I'm a very visual person. Um, and all I saw was like the outline of an individual and the way you talked about patches, and it's like, a Fargo rate, and then loss versus this, and then, you know, um, X stroke, or like all these little things that kind of you just make little circles and you just patch it on, and then it makes up the individual, uh, in like patchwork kind of thing. And I'd love to see what if somebody were to put down just one thing from every single time they played, what would be the thing that they would write in if they had 100 spots on that piece of paper in their body? What would be 100 things that they'd write if they had 100 spots?
Yeah.
Would they just write about their wins, their losses? Would they write about what they learned?
Well,
Now I think I'm going to actually do something like that. I'm going to try and play more from the heart, because uh I want to see what that's really, really truly like. It's always good to try something. I mean,
yeah.
you're
Well,
going to
it's
learn
there's no
something.
loser in a match. All the people that I work with, I tell them, I said, you know what? Even if you've lost the match, you win the lesson. You don't want to be sitting there with tunnel vision, just looking at all the missed shots and mistakes and mental blunders and stuff like that. There's a lesson out there that needs to be learned. And if you're learning, you're winning. Now, you're not going to be hoisting up any trophies or getting a winner's check or anything else. But what you are gaining is you're gaining that experience. That experience, okay, is going to get you to where you want to go to. The problem that a lot of pool players have is they're not willing to go out there and get the experience. They just want to win. And I learn more uh, through those heartbreaking losses, or those close matches, or even those close wins. I learn more from those about me,
Right.
and, and I think that's the beauty of the game.
Thank you for
It's the only
that.
game where you cannot make a mistake. I'm gonna quote Bert Kinnister. It's the only game
Okay.
that you cannot make a mistake and still lose. Really,
Yeah.
just sit in the chair. I've had it happen. Well, not really. I had a match against Ismail Paez where um, I, I lost the lag, and the one and only shot I had, I tried to masse and I miscued, and he ran out the set. That's the only shot I had. Yeah.
That's as
Uh,
close as it gets, right?
yeah. And what did I learn from that? Well, don't lose the lag, dummy. It's like,
Don't. Oh,
uh, but
I
it's
have
it's
Oh,
It's a
sorry.
lesson. Everything that you go through is a lesson.
Yeah,
Everything.
I would I would I would agree with that. I think that I personally always walk away with something too. Sometimes I just don't like it. So, sometimes I file those things in my folders in Appendiflex in my big files. Depends on what it is. Sometimes I just, you know, I really think that it is important though what you're saying.
Yeah,
It's kind of hitting home a little bit, to be
yeah.
quite honest.
I when I first got sober, I tried playing in pool tournaments. Um, I I would show up at a tournament and I didn't know where to go, where to look, and anything else. And there was a guy that was playing on the tour at the time from Michigan, and his name was Harry Sexton. They called him Poochie, and Poochie had more sober time than I did, and we would go to matches. And sit there and watch people like Buddy Hall and stuff like that. And then afterwards, we go have coffee. And when I started writing initially, uh, I started writing with Poochie's voice in my head, uh, saying these things to me because, at that time, I had nobody else to turn to. I didn't know any other sober pool players at the time. And, that guy, I'll tell you, he was kind of the backbone for me doing this, because he really lit that fire under me to get that ball rolling, to get all that stuff out of my head, you know.
Mm,
Yeah, and it's people like that, and there's so many other people that have helped me inside pool, outside of pool, that, how do you say thank you? You know,
yeah.
I just wake up every day and I'm grateful. I have a gratitude list, and I um, try to help as many people as I can. It's a daily thing for me. Sometimes it's an hourly thing. You and I were talking about that last week
Yeah.
about taking it second by second. Sometimes minute by minute, um, and always to remember, don't get too hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. Um,
There's the
and
list.
and that's where I get in trouble, even today. Not sleeping, not eating right, not doing what I'm supposed to. Uh, you know,
I know that
uh,
one.
we're all guilty of that. And knowing that you're not special when you make mistakes. Um, the mistake that Joey made in the U.S. Open. Uh, I was watching y'all last week, and y'all were talking about that. Um, you know, we got to learn how to laugh at ourselves and not take ourselves too seriously when we make mistakes. The closest I came to winning a regional event, uh, I was on the hill 8-8. I raced the 9. Me breaking, and I break, and I make a ball, and I see that there's a 3-9 combination in a quarter. Right, get out my jump cue, looking at it. Everybody's kind of looking at me like I'm crazy. Right? Boom, and I shoot that 3-9 combination in, and I don't see the one ball on the other side of the table.
Oh, wow. So it's not about the three. It's not about the four and the five.
No,
It's
no,
not all
none of
about the
the you
purple.
could have painted the ball. You could have
It's
painted the
the
balls different
adrenaline.
colors.
It's the adrenaline, I swear. It's the
But
adrenaline.
I tell that story, and it's in one of my random thoughts somewhere, only because I thought I won the match and I'm celebrating, right? And they had to, everybody's kind of looking at me like I'm nuts, and they had to tell me that it was a foul. you know? And you have to learn how to laugh at yourself. None of us are perfect. None of us are terminally cool. That's a word I like to use. Uh, we do dumb things and we make mistakes, and um, learn to laugh at it, because if you learn to laugh at it and not take it so seriously, you can learn how to work through it and smile about it. Uh,
It really
like I
is.
said,
It
I was
really
the
is
Q
important.
smasher. I was a Q smasher
A
guy.
cue smasher.
I I just look back and you know, my hair and my clothes, that's something to laugh at for 40 years later. But, uh, you know, I must have looked like a real genius doing that, you know? So, uh, but you can't take it too seriously. And it doesn't matter what it is, you know, there's always something to smile about, always. And,
As I say, speaking of smiling, my father is 92. It's going to be 93 in February, and he's sitting right there. And he's watching me right now. And I just want to smile and say, Hi, Dad, I love you.
tell him I say hi too.
He's watching, so he
Yeah.
knows. Um, hopefully that gives him he's waving to the TV. Um, so, Turidu. David says hello as well. Um, uh, uh, so we're going to be coming to a close here. I'm going to go through a couple of things, and then I just want one last thing from you. I'm just going to go through a couple of these things, maybe a couple quick answers. So let's see where I left off. Um, all right, audio's fine. Steve Jennings. Hey, David, I see you're keeping good company. Hey, Steve, thank
Yeah,
you.
I love that guy. He's an incredible teacher.
We have a little something, a surprise for everybody, but right now, surprise. So, Kyle Kyle Boutte wants to know what was the key to getting into that consistency. If we can quickly get an answer there, and then we'll move on to a couple of others. And Rick Owens is a great writer. I hope he publishes. All right. So, he wants to know about getting into consistency, Kyle.
Consistency. Well, confidence is a prerequisite to consistency. If you're not confident, you're not going to be consistent. So how do you get confident? Um, I go back to something that a lot of people, when I first put this on the internet, they bashed me over the head with it. But I go back to my walking analogy. Um, when we're all small children, we're learning how to walk. We're not good at it. When you're learning how to drive, probably not good at it. Anything, you know, when you're first starting out, you're not going to be very confident because you don't have the experience. Okay. The thing that's going to get you your consistency, like I said, is being confident in your abilities. But if your abilities are substandard, then every day during practice, your main job is to transform weaknesses into strengths. It's not about doing drills. It's not about just randomly throwing balls on the table and pocketing balls. It's about identifying where you need to improve and strengthening that every chance that you get. That's where you're
It's
going to get your confidence. Because when you
it's
go into battle, that's not the time to learn those lessons. That's what practice is for.
right.
Practice is the time where, okay, I need to work on my cross-side bank, or I need to work on my cross corner bank, or I need to work on placing the cue ball on a safety. I don't want to learn that mid match. Okay, I want to have a general idea, okay, of how I'm going to get the cue ball from point A to point B. Uh, and if I'm not working on stuff like that, then my practice is just a waste of time. I'm tossing snowballs in a furnace. So, you know, that's where your consistency is going to come from, is by transforming weaknesses into strengths and understanding that confidence has to exist before consistency can even get off the ground. That's a whole chapter of a book I haven't written yet. So
All right. Well, we'll look forward to. I know I'm looking forward to that. I get first dibs on that, right?
yeah, all
All
the
right.
time, all the
There we
time.
go. There we go.
Don't tell Jim and Sandra I said that. So
No, never, never. No, and they would never hear it from the interview either. Um, so confidence is the key, and this is your interview, but I have to say that a big thing that I I see are pool players going to the table and doing the 80-20. They practice 80% of what they're good at and 20% of what they're missing. It's supposed
Yeah.
to be the other way around. Work on your deficiencies, like you said. And I've been saying this for years. And I'm not a high rated pool player in any sense at all. And you don't have to be, because in the analogy of football, the coach may not be able to get up there where Tom Brady is and get on the field and execute that shot, but he knows what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
And there you go. And that's that. So,
Yeah.
all right,
Perfect.
who was on the Mount Rushmore? I heard Ray Martin and all right. You know what, Rick? I love you, but you're gonna have to watch it. That gives me an extra view.
I
All
can, I
right.
can tell I can tell them what it is. Cicero
All
Murphy.
right, go ahead. Go
Cicero
ahead.
Murphy, Ray Martin, okay, Louis Roberts, and then who else did I throw on? I threw Efren on there
Uh-huh.
and Buddy Hall.
Buddy. Yep.
That's my
I
Mount Rushmore.
All right. I just wanted to get that extra view. Samuel Howell, and actually Sam is a personal friend of mine. Hello, Sam. It's nice to see you. Miss you, buddy. Deadstroke University, he wrote. Has written and have told me I will buy multiple copies. Has written and have told him I will buy multiple copies. So that's Rick Owens is saying that. We'd like to
Rick
get some
Owens.
road.
It's my friend from Las Cruces.
There you go. He's been watching
Yeah.
from YouTube. Um, so he said that he'd like to hear some road stories. How about that? How about we end with, because we have to end, unfortunately, but how about we end with one really good or road story, and if it's a little shorter, we put another one in. A really good story, a really good road story or any story. Just
Oh,
give us something to ponder tonight.
uh, see who I want to pick on. Usually, if I'm going to pick on somebody, it's Tommy Kennedy, but um, gosh, uh, I got one. I'll share this one with you.
Okay.
Um, well, when I was 17 years old, I ran into Louis Roberts, and um, everybody wants to know, how did I do the road with Louis Roberts? How did I end up getting in the car? Well, for no other reason but I looked like I could be Louis's little brother. Okay. Louis didn't know if I could run two balls or if I could run three. He didn't care, I don't think, you know. But he had something that he wanted to do. And I got in the car, and the very first place he took me, okay, um, was this little town in Louisiana. And I'm playing this guy that had this necklace of alligator teeth around his neck, you know. And this guy just, and he just looked like he was mean. And I figured if I pocketed another ball, this guy was gonna just cut my throat, you know. uh, so I didn't know what to do. Couldn't I really hadn't had any big money games or anything like that. And the very first stop, Louis had thrown me in the box with Scotty Townsend. Okay. And it was brutal. And the more he shot, I mean, he was the kind of player. He didn't only pocket a ball; he'd take the back of the pocket off. And it was quite intimidating. It was quite a learning experience. And walk out of the pool hall, my head down, and Louis puts his arm around me and he tells me, he says, "You know what, sunshine?" He says, "You got the killer instinct of a white fluffy bunny rabbit."
Of a white fluffy bunny rabbit.
And I said, "What?" He says, "You have the killer instinct of a white fluffy bunny rabbit." He said, "What was that out there? I've seen you play. You can pocket balls. You can run racks. What was that?" Okay. And it was fear. Okay. And the 17-year-old me didn't know that. Um, the much older Sunshine knows that. Okay. And it's a story, not about killer instinct, but it's about what we're afraid of. And
Fear.
like I said, I thought he was going to slash my throat. I thought he was going to hurt me. Scotty Townsend became one of my dearest friends in this world. I mean, he really, really was good, always good to me, always, always. There's a lot of people out there. Dave Piona, always very, very good to me. Poochie, Harry Sexton. Uh,
Yeah.
but I didn't come away with the Killer Instinct story. I came back with a story about fear. And 99.999% of everything that we're afraid of, whether we're sitting in the chair or we're looking at a shot over the table, everything that we're afraid of, everything that we fear isn't real. It's imagined. It doesn't exist. It hasn't happened yet. It's us
Definitely hasn't
projecting.
happened yet. It's catastrophic thinking.
It's projected. It doesn't matter what it is. 2004, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. You know, I thought I was going to be dead in 5 years. I did. I thought I was going to be dead in 5 years. How did this happen to me? And we can go back there and waste all our time. Um, I've been blessed to have this, because there's a million other things I'm glad I don't have. Uh, I shake,
Wow.
really bad. Um, People have probably been watching my head pop back and forth for an hour now, but it's okay. My biggest fear when I was diagnosed was that I wasn't going to be able to play pool. Well, I played pool in 2005 on the UPA tour. I played on the Florida tour up until 2008, 2009. I taught actively, was making videos until 2016. 2017, I had to put my cue up, and it was time. And 2018, Kellyanne Bailey, Danny Bailey's a pool promoter from Kentucky. His daughter was a reporter here in El Paso, and I did a news story for KFOX here in El Paso. And that was my last time to screw my cue together. And I was okay with that. My fear of not playing pool is there's life after being a pool player. There really is. And if you'd have told me that 3-4 years ago, I wouldn't have believed you. But I'm blessed. I'm blessed. And I wake up and I got all this stuff, that I'm grateful for, stuff that I could have never imagined. It's not a wall full of trophies. It's not a bank account full of money. But it's stuff that matters. It's the real stuff. The real stuff. And when you have stuff like that, then your heroes, become other people. One of my heroes, and he'll probably say, what, when he hears this. It's a player in Illinois. His name's Chris Medved, and he practices every night on YouTube. Every night he's out there hitting balls. Okay. He reminds me of me a lot. He's a good father. He's a good husband. Those are my heroes. Players like that, those are my heroes. Guys like that. Guys like that. Guys that understand family comes first. It's guys like that. It's guys like Spanky. Spanky's out there against all odds. This guy's out there, and his name's out there in the hunt for the Moscone Cup. Love you, Greg Hogue. I love you. And it's a testament. There's a lot of people, a lot of people that are out there that understand what life's all about. You and I talked earlier today. We touched on some subjects, and the important things in life are family and being committed to them, and whatever that is. And the difference between the guy who smashed the cue and the guy that's sitting here now is priorities. you know. I haven't played professionally since 1994. Okay. The fact that I'm still relevant, people still care what I have to say,
Yep.
is a mystery to me. I have no idea. I haven't done anything. I haven't won anything. I haven't done anything. But people seem to want to hear what I have to say. Keeps me going. It keeps me going. And
Well, you made a
people.
positive, dramatic impact in a lot of
Well,
lives
it's
by just being genuine.
it's the power, and I tell people this all the time. It's the power of the people that found me at my lowest. They carved something into my life, you know, and that's what I want to share with other people. So if I affect anybody positively, trust me, I'm being selfish. I'm doing it for me. I wrote all this stuff for me. I didn't write it for you. But if you get something out of it, hey, you
That's a
know,
beautiful way to
yeah.
look at things.
And I like I said, I got pro players, top pro players that call me. Um, I don't know why, I'm like, well, what can I say to you, and, uh, and I have league players and guys that just play in a bar league, and I talk to them too, and I treat everybody the same. I really do. Um, and it's been a good, it's been a good thing for me, uh, to do this and remain grounded. That's why I don't monetize it. That's why I don't. It was all given to me freely. People came up and said and shared certain things with me, and I just pass it on. My friends in AA will understand that when I say pass it on, uh, and that's what I do. It's if it's helpful to you, pass it on to somebody else. Do something nice for somebody today.
Pay it forward. Well,
It's
thank
another way to
you.
put it. Pay it forward. I just kind of choose to say, it's it's not just positivity. I mean, I could sit here reciting positivity, uh, and and get nowhere. It's putting the positivity in action and getting
Right.
out there and doing something, and that's where it all boils down to. I had some great people come into my life to send me down different paths that had nothing to do with pool. Because I was a police officer for 5 years.
Yes.
I was
You served out.
I
You
was
served our country as well.
I was spent 8 years in the military, and I was also a pool hall owner for a long time. And I was horrible at all of them. Great at playing pool, though. you know, every time I decided to say I'm not going to play pool anymore, I'm going to be a cop. I was a pretty good pool player as a cop. But that's the beauty of life. And as you get older, you kind of realize, you kind of look back, and you see, uh, that there's a definite path. There was a definite path, and that's, I'm not special with that. It's like with everybody's life. Certain people are put in your path for positive reasons, and I love successful people. Like I brought up Cicero Murphy, Ray Martin, Steve Miserak. These are all great players. And what do great players like to do? They like to tell you how they got there, you know? Uh, and I would just sit there and just be a sponge, listening to stories. Uh, did the same thing to Buddy Hall. Uh,
I
Anybody
like
has
that.
Buddy's number,
Yes.
please get me Buddy's number. I used to
Uh,
text Buddy and he'd call me back. And I always loved that. I
that
would
would be
text him.
Upstate Al. Upstate Al. I know you're probably not watching, but maybe I'll send you a message
I had
later.
Buddy's old number, and I used to talk to him all the time. Buddy never texts you back. Buddy will always call you back, and I love that. And what a great player he was, and Mike Siegel too. I tell people, people try to judge people by personalities. I never saw anybody win more than Mike Siegel and Nick Varner. Uh, we can sit here and put Efren up on that mountaintop all day, Gloria. Uh, Mike Siegel was the man back in the day. So,
I have I have a lot of my own favorites. I'm gonna actually do something here. There's a little uh off. So you know Sandra, right? This is
Yeah,
kind of off
yeah.
the. Okay. Um, so Sandra, uh, I wanted sponsorship because there's a really cool tool. She's sponsoring somebody else, but I was like, Sandra, I want sponsorship. So if Sandra's listening, uh, I'm a woman of my word. I was just gonna throw the name out there, um, but uh, because I'm not here to make tons of money. However, if Sandra, you do want to throw some my way, that's perfectly fine. I am accepting it, and I'm saying this in front of David. Um, so Sandra, really quickly, and this is really off the interview, and I apologize, but because of the connection between Sandra and David, um, moonlightingbilliards.com. She asked me if I would be kind enough to just say one single word about it in passing, because she's sponsoring other people, and right now, financially, it's not feasible.
Hmm.
But I wanted to get her some of the PBIA instructors and people like that. But of course, you want to try to get a little something from it. But
Hmm.
I do have the drill partner. And I just wanted to send a shout out to that in front of everyone and in front of you and say that I have it and I've used it and I
Wish
like
I
it.
had one of those.
Sandra, um,
I don't
uh,
play anymore, but
so no,
um,
well, the thing is I'm not sponsored, and I'm just basically doing
it's a
this
great product from good
because,
people.
yeah,
It's
well, I'm just
useful.
doing this because I want to let her know that it's not just going to be in like one of my live videos that I say for 1 second and then boom,
Yeah.
it's just gone, and I'm not getting paid to do this, um, at all. I did get a free product, and I thank you very much, Sandra. Um, I may not be the biggest of influencers, and that's perfectly okay. Um, uh, but I think that the people that I know may actually want to try one of these. And Sandra, when you become rich, please get me a house somewhere, um, where I can switch seasons. Thank you kindly. Um, so here it is. I'm just gonna pull it up really quickly, and so I just want to do this right there. Okay, everybody, go there, give it a follow. All right. Um, she has 348 followers. Jim Prather, Sandra Costin. Sandra, I'm going to, and I'm sorry, but I'm not good with the name thing. Um, uh, and check it out. Okay. All right.
A
I
great product from good people.
There you go.
A very useful product.
There you go. There you go. And I told her that I would say something in passing, and I was going to do it in a live video, but uh, I don't know how many viewers we have right now. I think like maybe 5 or 8 or something like that at this point now. But it is what it is. And I gave her hopefully some more advertisement, and me talking about it with you can get it out there.
Yeah.
Um, so um, uh, there we go. Um, so David, it's been such an honor again. Thank you. I would
Uh,
like to have you on another time. I am going to, however, spend more time with my family. I'm going to start to slow things up in November, even though we're coming out with some new things.
hmm.
But I am still going to continue my pool life until January 31st. And then I'm going to, in the process, be reevaluating things and spending more time with my family. Um, and that's in part due to something that I heard today, that you and I spoke about,
Yeah.
and also looking at my own life and being in this industry 15 consecutive years through a lot. So, hey, um, you know, pool is life, but pool really isn't life, because I would rather have memories with my father and my cats than I would remembering a win.
Yeah. Yeah. The wins are
So,
fun too.
Those are absolutely fun, but if I'm not going to win
Mhm.
anyway, no, I'm just joking. I have to be confident at the table. But no, in all sincerity, my ability to play is really not there anymore either. I became an instructor, and yeah, that's really what I want to start doing. And I'm no seagull. I'm not somebody who's great at it, but you don't have to be great to be able to teach.
It helps, but
It does
it's
help.
it's it's
You could be
it
the
comes
coach,
down
not
to
the
what you
quarterback.
yeah, it comes down to what the spirit is and why you're doing the teaching, you know. I learned
I
that
just love
too.
it.
Yeah, I
I
learned
just love
that
it.
very early on.
And now I'm allowed to teach juniors because I did the whole check. So, for me, it's really something that I want to pursue in the time that I have. I want to be able to do less of the work that I'm doing this season. I want to start
Yeah,
living.
yeah.
I'm getting a
Like I
little
said,
older.
get some you time.
Yeah, after 29, when I just hit 30,
yeah.
yeah, it started to I started to feel it.
Well,
So
anytime
David,
you want me back, you let me know.
I definitely will, and I'm going to be asking you a question probably the day after tomorrow because tomorrow's a little bit crazy. Maybe I'll ask you tomorrow, and we'll see what happens.
I'll be here watching baseball. That's
All
what
right,
I do now. So,
okay, all right. Well, enjoy. And who's your team?
oh, my team's out. The Dodgers are out. Yeah,
Okay, I'm a Yankee fan.
yeah. They still have Aaron Boone at the. I'm still.
I'm
I
a
don't know.
Yankees fan. Well, I started watching those games with my mom when I was about 12 years old, and uh, my mom's no longer with us. So I will never ever change my team. I'm from New York to begin with, but that's not the reason because I'm also a Steelers fan, and I'm not from Pittsburgh. So
I grew up when the guy that lived next door to me was Bob Stanley, who was a pitcher for the Boston Red Sox. And when I was 11 years old, okay, I was a Yankees fan, diehard Yankees fan, and I had the Yankees hat, okay, and a Yankees T-shirt, and I walked in to Herbie Stanley, who was Bob Stanley's dad. I walked into his house wearing that hat, and next time I got all Red Sox stuff, you know.
well,
Oh, it's a true.
I
That's a
will
true
forgive
story.
you. I will forgive you, and I will still talk to you. I'm joking. I'm joking. Now I'm gonna have to send you something that says Yankees, and you're gonna have to take a picture of it and put it up on your profile there underneath one of your thoughts. I'm gonna. You know what? I'll hold it myself, and then I'll send it to you.
Uh,
David,
I'm a
it's
Dodgers fan. I'm a Dodgers fan only because they used to be in New York. So
they were. Yeah, there's a lot that New York had a lot of teams at one time, and well, this is turning into not pool, but
baseball,
baseball.
yeah,
One of my favorite sports. I played pitcher, catcher, shortstop, right field, first base. I loved softball. Loved it.
I play two things. I play pool and then I play the dashboard. You know, that's it. It's my only musical instrument.
The only one. How about the not the air guitar? No.
Nah,
Come
nah,
on, everybody's played the air
I
guitar.
don't have the hair for it. So I just,
Okay, all right, all right. We'll let that go. All right, Curtis is grabbing the off switch here. I'm gonna go out and pick up a couple of things from my pops, and David, we'll probably see you in I'd say a couple weeks. And everybody, there's a reason for that. It's a surprise, um, and I'll be talking to David probably tomorrow about it. Steve Jennings, Troy Garton. Hey, Troy Garton, how are you? Good advice, Gloria. Thank you, Troy. Greg Hogue, Team USA all day. Everybody, thank you very much. Oh, you're very welcome. Tiro, you're very, very welcome. You have a wonderful night. Um, everybody,
hey,
many
Terrell,
blessings. That's David's friend, yes. Everybody, many blessings to you. Good health. And we'll probably see you in, I don't know, uh, soon. That's all I'll say. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.